Yeah, now let us go for the patterns of the functional systems. So if we go for the patterns of functional systems, there are two types. One is we can see that about the diest system. Okay. So in the diest system, there is open type of gut and closed type of gut. Okay, one we can see that one as incomplete gut. In the diest system, there are two patterns. One is incomplete gut. So incomplete gut means there is only one opening, then other end was closed. Okay, this opening itself acts as the mouth and anus. So where we can see incomplete gut means they will be asking you only example here, the platyhelminthes. So best example for incomplete gut is platyhelminthes. Next one is complete gut. Okay, next one is complete gut. Complete gut means it is having two openings. One is the, now don't raise your hands, please listen. After that I'll give you a chance to rectify your doubts. Complete gut means we can use another word, it is also called as tubular gut. So tubular gut, it looks like a tube, it is having two openings. One is an anterior opening and second one is posterior openings. Anterior opening is acting as mouth and the posterior opening is acting as anus. Okay, so these are the complete gut. So complete gut is seen from nematoda to chordata. So complete gut is seen from nematoda to chordata. Next one, blood vascular system, that is open type of circulation. So in the open type of circulation means the blood is not flowing through the blood vessels. Okay, so blood flows through the sinuses. In open type of blood vascular system, blood flows through sinuses. So blood flows through the sinuses. Then in open type of circulatory system is seen in arthropoda. So remember the examples only here. Arthropoda, mollusca, echinodermata, and urochordata. So open type of blood vascular system, the blood is flowing through the sinuses. Okay, the blood bathes all the tissues and cells. Okay, the blood is bathing all the tissues and cells. And examples of open type of circulation is arthropoda, mollusca, echinodermata, urochordata. And you have to remember the examples of these things. They directly, they won't ask you in arthropoda what type of circulation. Instead of arthropoda, they may ask you cockroach, they may ask you butterfly. Okay, they may ask you crustaceans, they may ask you limulus, like that. Same in the mollusca also. Pila is there, Aplysia is there. Okay, but in mollusca there is one exception, that is we'll teach that one about while teaching mollusca. In echinodermata also you have to remember the examples, and urochordate also you have to remember the examples. Now let us see closed type of blood vascular system. So in closed type, blood flows through blood vessels. So in closed type of blood vascular system, blood flows through blood vessels. So blood is flowing through the blood vessels. That means from heart to arteries, arteries to capillaries, capillaries to veins, veins to heart again. So let us see that one also, flow chart. Heart to arteries, from arteries to capillaries, from capillaries to veins, and from veins to, wait, I'll come, veins to heart. So this is about the closed type of blood vascular system. Example of closed type of blood vascular system is Annelida in invertebrates, Cephalopoda, these two are invertebrates. Okay, Cephalopoda is also invertebrate. Cephalochordata. So this comes under the chordates and chordata. Okay. So closed type of blood vascular system is seen in Annelida, Cephalopoda or invertebrates. These two are chordates, and vertebrates also comes under this one. Okay. Right. Yes, Sangamesh, tell me. Sangamesh, what is the problem? We leave it now. I cannot waste the time. So you people copied, I think, that one. Right, I am clearing off. Right, now I am going for the symmetry. So what is meant by symmetry? Symmetry means it is the geometrical arrangement of body parts. Okay, symmetry means geometrical arrangement of body parts. So the geometrical arrangement of body parts is called as symmetry. Okay, the geometrical arrangement of body parts is called as symmetry. So in the symmetrical animals, the body can be divided into two equal halves. Okay, then what is meant by asymmetry? Asymmetry means absence of symmetry. Asymmetry means absence of symmetry. Here the absence of symmetry means what is the meaning here? That means in these animals, the body parts are not arranged in a particular geometrical designs, and the animal cannot be cut into two equal halves. Then we call that one as asymmetry. Example for asymmetry is most of the sponges show asymmetry, and also adult gastropods. So these are showing the asymmetry. Now let us go for the types of symmetry. Symmetry means what? Symmetry means, I told you, that arrangement of body parts in a geometrical design. In that, the first one is radial symmetry. So here the radial symmetry means you have to remember one thing, that the body can be cut into equal halves passing through any plane. Okay. So radial symmetry is the primitive type of symmetry. It is the most primitive type of symmetry. Primitive type of symmetry. So someone is calling. There is no sound. 1 minute. Are you able to hear me? Radial symmetry means one minute past, student is complaining there is no sound. Okay. Now you are getting from the first beginning, you have heard. Okay. Right, radial symmetry means it is a primitive type of symmetry. Okay. Then in radially symmetrical animals, the shape of the body in radially symmetrical animals is cylindrical or umbrella shaped. So primitive type of symmetry, shape of the body is cylindrical or umbrella shape. So animal can be cut into two equal halves passing through oro-aboral axis. So they will be asking you only examples of this one. Example is cnidarians. All the cnidarians exhibit radial symmetry. Ctenophores and adult echinoderms. Adult echinoderms. So these are the examples of radial symmetry. Again I am repeating, radial symmetry is the primitive type of symmetry. The animals which exhibit radial symmetry will have cylindrical or umbrella shape, and principal axis is oro-aboral axis. Generally, this is the animal. Principal axis is this one, an imaginary straight line passing from one end to other end from the center of the body is called as principal axis, and this one is called as plane. This one is called as plane. So principal axis is the oro-aboral axis. Okay, so they will be asking you about the principal axis only. Then let us go for the next one, bilateral symmetry. So I am clearing my diagrams. Take a screenshot of that. Right. Bilateral symmetry. So bilateral symmetry. In bilateral symmetry, seen in triploblastic animals, seen in all triploblastic animals, Then advanced type of symmetry, this one. So bilateral symmetry is most advanced type of symmetry. Okay. Then here body is dorso-ventrally distinguished. So in radial symmetry there is no dorsal side and ventral side, but here in bilateral symmetry we can see the body can be distinguished into dorso-ventrally and also laterally. Okay. Then what is the principal axis means? Principal axis is anterior-posterior axis. So anterior-posterior axis. So anterior to posterior side. Then what is the plane of symmetry means? It is a sagittal plane. So these two are important. So we can see bilateral symmetry from platyhelminthes to chordata. Platyhelminthes to chordata. So platyhelminthes to chordata. Okay. So that is about this one. And gastropoda is there. Gastropoda, larva, adult. Larva exhibit bilateral symmetry. Adult exhibit what we can say asymmetry. Okay. Similarly, echinodermata, larva exhibit bilateral symmetry, adult exhibit pentaradial symmetry. So in adults the symmetry is changing. So larva is exhibiting bilateral symmetry, but adults are exhibiting pentaradial symmetry. So that is also very, very important. Okay. Now let us go for the diploblastic animals. Means presence of two germ layers. Diploblastic means presence of two germ layers. So diploblastic, presence of two germ layers like outer ectoderm and inner endoderm. So in diploblastic animals, the mesoderm is absent. Example, diploblastic animals is cnidarians and ctenophores. So examples for diploblastic is cnidarians and ctenophores. Second one is triploblastic animals. Triploblastic animals means presence of three germ layers. Presence of three germ layers. That means outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm and inner endoderm. So if there are three germ layers, then we are calling them as triploblastic animals. Examples are Platyhelminthes to chordata. Platyhelminthes to chordata. So it is called as triploblastic animals. So Platyhelminthes to chordata are the examples of triploblastic animals, right? Similarly, protostomes and deuterostomes. So I want to distinguish that one also. After that, I will go for the types of coelom. So coelom, I will give only example, name of the coelom and examples only you have to remember for examination. You just go through the textbook once, give one reading for that one. Because we have to cover many things now. You take a screenshot of that. Right. Protostomes. Protostomiata or protostomes. Blastopore. If the blastopore first develops into mouth, if the blastopore first develops into mouth, we call that one as protostomiata. Protostomes example Annelida, Arthropoda and mollusca. So these are the protostomes. So what are deuterostomes? Blastopore first develops into anus. If the blastopore first develops into anus, it is called as deuterostome. Example, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and chordata. So if the blastopore develops into anus, we call that one as deuterostomes. Now let us see the coelom. Coelom means it is the body cavity, presence of body cavity. So if the body cavity is lined by mesoderm, then we call that one as coelom. Animals with coeloms are called as coelomates. Animals without coelom are called as acoelomates. Okay. So true coelom is lined by what we can say mesoderm. If the body cavity is lined by mesoderm, we call that one as true coelom. Then how many types of coeloms are there? There are three types of coeloms. First one is acoelom. Acoelom means absence of coelom. Examples of acoelom is Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes is the best example of acoelom. And you can use sponges, poriferans, cnidarians and ctenophores also as acoelom. In them the body cavity is absent. Okay, but appropriate example will be Platyhelminthes only. Acoelomata means absence of any body cavity. Next one, pseudocoelom, false coelom. So embryonic blastocele remains. Persistence of primary body cavity is called as pseudocoelom. Example of pseudocoelom is Aschelminthes. Nematyhelminthes or nematoda or roundworms. Third one is schizocoelom. Schizocoelom means coelom formed by the splitting of mesoderm. Remember that. Coelom formed by the splitting of mesoderm is called as schizocoelom. Splitting of mesoderm is called as schizocoelom. Example for schizocoelom is Annelida. Anyone message me sound is coming or not? Annelida, Arthropoda, mollusca. So schizocoelom examples are Annelida, Arthropoda and mollusca. So that is the schizocoelom. Enterocoelom. Enterocoelom means coelom formed from archenteron. So coelom formed from our body cavity developed from archenteron. Then we call that one as schizocoelom. Example, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, and Chordata. So they'll be asking you about the types of coelom only and their examples. Okay. Please note the points. Take a screenshot. Right. Okay, I'm clearing up this one. So someone messaged me, is the sound is coming or not? Now it's okay. Okay, now it's clear, it seems. Thank you very much for your reply. All right. So next one, let us go for the next one. Yeah. So next one I want to go for the one more thing is there about this one segmentation. I want to go for this one, division of body cavity into small segments. So little bit I will go today, some extension. So segmentation. So division of body into small segments. Segmentation means division of body. For example, you take Annelida, the body is divided into segments. So division of body into small segments. Please, you can message me in my phone. Can you message me? Please message me to my phone. So segmentation is both internal and external. Both internal and external. We can see internal segmentation and also can be seen external segmentation. Okay. Then a repetition of body segments. Repetition of body parts. So repetition of body parts in all the segments. Body parts in segments. So repetition of body parts in segments is called as metamerism. So if the body parts are repeated in all the segments, for example, you take the earthworm. Earthworm exhibit true metamerism. In the earthworm, we can see that digestive system is present from first segment to last segment. So that is called as metamerism. So repetition of body parts in segments is called as metamerism. So animals that exhibit true metamerism. Animals that exhibit metamerism. What are the examples? Annelida. Okay, examples of metamerism are Annelida, Arthropoda, and Chordata. Annelida, Arthropoda, and Chordata. These are the animals that exhibit metamerism. Next one, notochord. Very important one, notochord also. Notochord. Origin of notochord is Mesoderm. So chordae, Mesoderm, use the word chordae, Mesoderm. And notochord is solid and rod-like. Solid and rod-like. Present along the mid-dorsal line. Notochord is present along the mid-dorsal line, that is the position of the notochord. It is present along the mid-dorsal line, found in embryonic stages. Found in embryonic stages of what? Of all the vertebrates. So animals with notochord. Animals with notochord. So animals with notochord are called as chordates. Okay, animals with notochord are called as chordates. Animals without notochord, you all know that animals without notochord are called as non-chordates. Animals without notochord are called as non-chordates. So this completes about the introduction part of the animal kingdom. So we have completed all the important areas I covered, and you have to read. Remember that thing, one thing, as central government has cancelled the PU1, PU2, CBSE exams, this time the paper will be very tough. Okay, remember that paper will be very tough, and scoring part will be biology. For those are NEET aspirants, I am telling you, scoring part will be biology, after that chemistry, after that physics only. So try to read each and every line. Dear students, if you have any material, let me know. If you have any material, let me know. Message me. Those are real interested in the NEET examination. Okay. NEET and CET. I'm not talking about CET. NEET. If you are preparing for NEET, means the CET is automatically will come. Those are having NEET examination. Form one group. Add me also in that group. Then I'll share you some materials there. Okay. You add my number. One of the student, girls from one group, NEET group. Those are interested for the NEET examinations. Boys from form one NEET group. So that I can share some materials. I can tell you some materials, and how to prepare the NEET examination also I will tell you, especially biology, so that you can score 340 out of 360 marks. You can score easily 340. I have done experiments. It is successful. Right. I'm cleaning up. Take a screenshot of that. Now I'm going for the next one, Porifera. Phylum Porifera. So habitat, habit, common name. Okay, so habitat and habit. So these are commonly called as, I will write here, these are commonly called as sponges. Okay, the term Porifera means pore bearing animals. Pore bearing animals. Time is running out. Pore bearing animals. Again, I'm having only 10 minutes now. I have to complete at least 2 phyla. So most of them are aquatic. Most of them are aquatic, and marine. Few are freshwater. Best example freshwater sponge is Spongilla. So this is one question. Spongilla is one question. Okay. So I'll go for the important aspects only. Symmetry in sponges is asymmetry. They does not show any symmetry. Okay. Then how the sponges are identified? Identification of sponges. Sponges are identified by canal system and choanocytes. So sponges are identified by canal system and choanocytes. So what is canal system means? Canal system is a water transport system. Okay, just I'm going for a rough diagram here. These are pinacocytes. Okay. Right. This is osculum. These are ostia. And this is the spongocoel. Right. So water enter into the canal system through ostia, and they are coming outside through osculum. Okay. So canal system or water transport system consists of ostia, osculum and spongocoel. If you see that there are many ostia but osculum is only one. Okay, many ostia but osculum is only one. Ostia allows the water towards inside the spongocoel and osculum exit of water. Osculum is exit of water. Then the central cavity of sponges is called as spongocoel. Okay, spongocoel is lined by choanocytes. The spongocoel is lined by choanocyte. Like this, the flagellated cells are present inside. They are called as collar cells or choanocytes. So the spongocoel is internally lined by flagellated cells or choanocytes. Okay, what are choanocytes? Means choanocytes are special cells, collar-like cells, and they line the spongocoels and other canals. And choanocytes are useful in intracellular digestion. So very important point. Okay, and the skeleton of the sponges is formed by spongin fibers. Spongin fibers or spicules. So skeleton is formed by spongin fibers or spicules. That is very, very important. Skeleton also they will be asking you. And if you see the spicules are two types. One is calcareous spicules, that means they are made up of with calcium carbonate, and second one is siliceous spicules. They are made up of with silica. Then before the digestion, on digestion you will get questions for each and everything. You have to remember, digestion is intracellular. Type of digestion is intracellular. Okay. Then cells absent in porifera. What are the cells absent? Means nerve cells and sensory cells. Nerve cells and sensory cells are absent. Very important thing. Nerve cells and sensory cells are absent. That means there is no functional coordination between cells. So division of labor occurs at the cellular level. Okay. And reproduction is sexual and asexual. Okay. On reproduction you will get questions, sexual and asexual. Asexual reproduction occurs by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction occurs by fragmentation, right? Budding and gemmules. Okay, asexual reproduction occurs by budding, gemmules and fragmentation. And sexually they are hermaphrodites. Okay, sexually we see that they are hermaphrodites. Okay, take a screenshot. I want to go for the examples. Time is also up. I'll stop here, and tomorrow we'll go through different because I'm not having explained everything, otherwise I have gone for the slides. So tomorrow we'll continue, or in the evening anytime if you want I can take one more class also, because for some students I have to record this one and I have to upload in the YouTube also. Management is asking only YouTube classes only, not the live classes. You remember that one. But even though I'm taking live classes for you, for your sake. Okay, so anything if you are missing you can see in the YouTube also. So I'll upload this one in the YouTube also right now. The same thing I'm uploading, I'm recording that thing. That's the reason why I kept you all mute. So if anything is there, you please never hesitate to call me or message me. Okay, please put your names. I don't know your names also, no. Put your names and message me. Right. So you people read up to Cnidarians, platyhelminthes. You read up to platyhelminthes. For today examination I covered up to platyhelminthes also. I thought of completing that one, but it is not possible. And as I told, that neat batch, you form one group. One of the girl you take initiative, one of the boy you take initiative. So I can share you some materials also in that, so that I'll tell you how to read also. So let us see the thing whether you are able to read that one. You will do that one or not for today. Right? We'll continue tomorrow. Okay, ma'am? Thank you very much. Yeah, if is there anything is there, let me know.